The last middleware I wanted to show you is the virtual file system, and it will give our agent the ability to write files, but also read some existing ones. This is part of Deep Agents, another library created by LangChain, which is an open source harness to develop some agents. They summarize it by saying that basically if you are not the model, the LLM, you are part of the harness. So these are all these components that improve the capabilities of our agents, like the middlewares, the to-do list, the file system, the ability to call some tools, to have access to some context, and a lot of other things. To implement this virtual file system, we will need to create first a backend. This is to represent the folder that we want our agent to have access to, and this will be the root of this virtual file system. And then this backend will be passed to the file system middleware. So this is really the component we are giving to our agent, and then we link with this folder. So now it has access to this folder and can write and read files within it. So don't forget to install Deep Agents if you haven't done so already, because this is a different library than LangChain. So then after that, from Deep Agents, you can import both the file system backend and the file system middleware. And after that, you can start creating the backend. So it needs only two parameters. The first one, this is the folder that you want your agent to have access to. In that case, I'm saying that the folder will be named workspace, and the dot represents the current working directory. So if you have dot/workspace, it means that within your current working directory, it will connect to this workspace folder, or if it does not exist, it will create it when it needs it. After that, I chose that the virtual mode is true, and it gives you a bit more safety around this agent, because it will not be able to go outside of this folder. So for example, if it will try the path traversal, like with the double dots like this to go to the parent directory and then access another folder, it would be blocked by this backend. So this is pretty safer at the beginning, so you make sure you don't give access to the entire computer for your agent. I just delete this and I execute. Now we can create the LLM client as we are used to, and we can create an agent. And you see that as part of the middleware, I pass this file system middleware, and I also need within this middleware to pass the backend. As it's written here, if you don't pass a backend, it will directly write the file content within the state. It's also possible, but it's pretty less convenient. We can have a look at this option as well. So here I'm starting with my config. So if you remember from the previous video, this is part of the checkpointer to make sure that we can continue the same conversation and not start from a blank state each time we invoke the agent. So here within the config, I just chose the name conversation1 to represent this first conversation. And after that, I can invoke the agent, pass my message as part of the state, and pass the config so it knows which conversation it is a part of. And it will return a new state. So here I'm asking, write a poem about LangChain and save it in your workspace. So I will execute it. I forgot to mention that for me, the workspace was already created and there was already an image file within it. And we can see that now newly it created this LangChain poem. So if I open it, we can see that it was able not only to create the file, but also to write some content within the file. So far, so good. Within the state here, you see there is a new key, files, which is empty. And here it will be in case you didn't provide a backend, it will write within this key the file directly. Now I will ask a follow-up question, so I pass exactly the same config, so it knows that I'm continuing the same conversation, and I'm asking the agent to list all the files available in the workspace to see if it has also access to the file that I added to the workspace before that. So I execute it, and let's display the last one here in Markdown. And we see that indeed it has access to the two files. So it can not only create and write files, it can also list what's existing in and it could also modify them if necessary. And as we said, let's have a try now without the backend, and we will ask exactly the same thing. So I execute this and I change within my config the thread ID, so it starts a new conversation. And you see this time it didn't modify anything within my workspace. However, in this file key, we see that now there is a dictionary, and the key is the name of the file it created, and then the content is also provided here. So this is another possibility that you have. If you don't want to give access directly to a folder on your computer, you can also use this middleware without a backend, and in that case, you would just access the content in your state directly, which can be convenient as well. So that's everything I wanted to show you around the agents and the middleware, and the next video probably will be back to some Mistral topics. Bye for now.